Hi, welcome back to our invitation event for DCI Level 4, which is called The Secrets of Great Relationships. And in the first little invitation talk, we talked about different kind of relationships that we kind of don't think about a lot. Normally, we're concerned about our work relationships, and we're concerned about our personal relationships. And in the last little invitation talk, we talked about, well, there's a new kind of relationship that we all have to worry about, which is your online relationships, okay? Many of us are working, almost all of our work now is done in the metaverse. Little electron pictures of Geshe Michael are dealing with little electron pictures of my business associates in the world and people I want to talk to. And there's new rules and there's new ways to handle those relationships. This level is going to teach you how to have great metaverse relationships. But we've also learned recently in the world that we got to find solutions to big relationships between countries. You know, all of us live somewhere, and we all live in a different country. And it's not enough to deal with business relationships and with personal relationships. It's not enough to just deal with online metaverse relationships. We also got to figure out this international, big, real world relationships. These are not online. These are physical relationships between people in different countries dealing with each other, big countries dealing with millions of people dealing with each other. And I think what we've all seen recently is we can't ignore these relationships. They affect all of us, and they can change the life. They change our business life and our personal life. So we better figure out these big relationships between countries. And is there anything I can do as one person to affect the relationship between my country and other countries in the world? Okay, and I like to see in the next picture. Many of you know the idea of DCI Global, great teaching. I think sometimes it's the greatest teaching of DCI Global. It's called The Two Husbands in the Kitchen. And very briefly, this woman is working in an international company. She comes home. She meets her husband in the kitchen, and her husband yells at her suddenly without any provocation. She doesn't say anything. And then suddenly her husband yells at her, "You're stupid." And then in the DCI levels, we learn that what she sees happening, as we did with the pen, is coming from her. Her husband criticizing her in the kitchen is coming from how she treated other people, like her children, in the last few weeks. When she was with her children 5 days ago, she said something critical to her children. She heard herself say it. It planted a seed in her mind. And then when she comes home 4 or 5 days later, her husband suddenly calls her stupid, yells at her. And then the human reaction is to believe that the husband is angry, or the husband had a bad day, or the husband's being unfair. But what we learn in DCI with the pen, we learn that things are coming from your seeds, okay? So obviously, if your husband is coming from your seeds, then other countries in the world are also coming from your seeds. And I know you're going to say, "Oh, look, Geshe, countries are made of tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. I understand how my husband could be coming from my seeds. But are you telling me that 50 million people or 100 million people in another country could also be coming from me? Are you telling me that the way other countries act towards my country is also coming from my seeds?" And the answer is yes, that's exactly what's correct. And we're going to talk more about it, and we're going to learn more about it. And the exciting thing is, if these ideas are true, and I say they are true, then each one of us has the power to affect a positive change in the international situation. Each one of us is contributing seeds towards that situation. And each one of us has power to make the world better in a big way between countries. Okay. In the next picture here, the whole principle of DCI Global, as we're going to learn as far as relationships, it's kind of a win-win-win. Okay. We are not playing zero-sum games anymore. We don't say that one country has to get to win and other countries have to lose. We don't say that one country should control all the oil and other countries shouldn't have oil, or this whole idea of zero sum. If you get something good, then I lose something good. We're going to show how that's just not true. If things are coming from my seeds, if the pen is coming from my seeds, then this zero-sum game idea is wrong. And it's possible that even with countries, we can run things win-win. We can all cross the finish line at the same time. I couldn't find a picture of it, but you get the idea. Suppose all these ladies or these racers were crossing the finish line at the same moment. And that's the goal that we can reach with international relationships, okay? In this next picture, DCI teaches about the idea that, yes, if you could plant good seeds, then you would never get a headache. But, that's if you plant perfect seeds. And not normal people like us, we cannot plant perfect seeds all the time. There are going to be some bad seeds. We are going to have to take an aspirin sometimes. Whether or not the aspirin works depends on your seeds. And that's a kind of a proof of seeds, okay? It's only if things are coming from seeds can we explain why aspirin works sometimes and it doesn't work at other times, okay? Geshe-la, do I still have to take aspirin if I have great seeds? Yeah, because sometimes your seeds are, you just can't be perfect all the time. You're going to make some negative seeds. Well, what do I do if I make a negative seed? Well, then you're going to have to take an aspirin. What this means is that in relationships between countries, we still need treaties, we still need national defense, we still need governments, we still need to have conversations with other countries about how to fix problems that we have. But those problem-fixing attempts will go much better, and they will actually work if we understand seeds. Having negotiations, having a treaty, working out a solution between countries is still necessary, even if things come from seeds. But now those solutions themselves are coming from my seeds, and they are more successful. Next picture here. There's a famous story in the ancient books about a mother who's taking medication. She takes the wrong medication one day, and she gets a little crazy, and she actually attacks one of her children with a knife because she's hallucinating. The drug that was supposed to help her high blood pressure has made her actually go crazy. And then there's a whole beautiful explanation about if your mom came at you with a knife because she took a drug by accident and she went crazy for a little while, would you shoot her? Would you kill her? Would you break her neck? Or what would you do? And of course you would try to grab her, sit her down, take the knife away from her as peacefully as possible, okay? So we're going to talk about that coming up levels, that there's an attitude towards violent people that's very healthy, where you just want to help them not to make bad seeds in a peaceful way and in as peacefully as possible. Okay, next picture here. This mom is helping her child with a piggy bank. and she's teaching her kid about saving money, and it's a great example, I think. It's a great illustration of the idea of a good example. Okay, if your mom teaches you from the time you're a small kid and shows you, hey, this is how you should save your money. In America, for example, we don't save money. We're always in debt. We always have credit card debt. We're always spending more money than we have. And then when we get older, we have serious, serious problems. So what you have here is a mom trying to be a good example for her child. And this is all about the idea that progress between countries can happen, will happen if we plant seeds. But it takes place gradually, and it depends on each one of us being a good personal example in how we respond to problems with other single people in our life, because then that will spread to countries, how countries deal with problems with each other. Okay, that's the second new idea about relationships that we're going to cover in the upcoming course. And let's stop here, and then we're going to have a third, I think a very, very cool and much deeper idea about your relationships in our third talk.